I'm just one man. Hi, everybody. The internet's Mark Donica here. I'm going to be flying solo to talk to you about this past week's 205 Live and NXT. Let's get to it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
We're doing a little bit of the silence. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the NXT After Show. We are listening to the sultry sounds of Mustafa Ali. I think this is the first time. Yeah, I mean, we've just sort of started adapted to this new 205 Live addition to our show, and this is the first time we're starting with 205 Live music because, oh man, is it just too emotional. It's like somebody's cutting onions up in here. Welcome to the show. I'm Mark Donica. My co-hosts, the Hobo and Bill Handstock, are out this week, but they are not sitting on their hands at home. They are doing some pretty sweet stuff that I cannot wait for them to tell you all about next week when we preview NXT TakeOver New Orleans. But to get started, thank you to everybody who's joining me live in the chat to help me out in this, including some of the people who I have not seen in here before. Sayanson, I haven't seen you live in chat before, but I've seen you around. Brian Settles. And thank you, Dang MQ, for saying that I'm the next Inner Geekdom champion. I gotta get through Dorian for. I say Dorian. I can't even forget his name. Jared. That's his name. We know each other personally. Anyway, welcome into the show. The last night's 205 Live. We'll get started there. And oh boy, did it set up some good future stuff. It started out with we seem to be getting into a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking about? We keep seeing these teams against each other in one way or another, and it started out with Hideo Itami versus Lince Dorado, and it seems like 205 is Lince Dorado's playground, and the fact that we're getting a fatal four-way to kind of the number one contendership, even though they're not saying it, because to say so would sort of devalue the WrestleMania match, etc., etc. And Lince Dorado's not in it, I think, is kind of a slap in the face to him, but it's Drake Maverick rewarding positive behavior. Now, this match ended in a DQ after Itami attacked Grand Metalik, and then Metalik, which is kind of weird because he's a veteran and with kind of a rookie move, attacked back, causing the DQ. They had to be pulled apart with Tozawa and Kalisto as the cooler heads prevailing. What did you all think of this match? It's weird. It was a very weird sort of air about it. Sharkasaur in chat saying Lince had serious wrestling glow up the last few months. Totally agree. And is it just me, or does he look he's got a lot more definition? Is that just me, or is it just because he's on TV a lot more? Who knows? But that solid match in that. Next match, some positives, some negatives here and there. TJP took on Kenneth Johnson, who we haven't seen since the Cruiserweight Classic, so it was really nice to see him back. Oh boy, that boy tall. He never seemed to really get his footing in the match. This was like all TJP. There were a couple of times where Kenneth Johnson just threw his body at him in order to get some sort of an advantage, and did for a little while, but ultimately TJP hit the detonation kick to knee bar. I guess the purpose of that was just to show, hey, TJP's around and he's still winning, so that's why he was put in the fatal four-way match. Negative, the match contained TJP. All right, I can see that. Joseph Boza says, wouldn't be surprised if the next time those two teams met would be to decide the WWE Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship. While I do agree with that, I think it will end up being these teams, and they're building up the animosity between these two for, if the rumors are true and we are getting a Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship belt. I was going to say division, but the Cruiserweight division is its own division. If we do get tag teams, why aren't we putting more teams into the mix to start going the idea of, oh, there are a lot of tag teams here. We should have a belt, because right now, if it's just two people fighting over a belt, it's not that much of a division. There's not a lot of depth there. But after a performance tonight, which I'm going to talk about, I think there's a tag team that I really want in 205 Live. So after the pull apart, after the TJP match, Drake Maverick, as I mentioned before, makes a Fatal 4-Way match between Tozawa, I got a cough drop in my mouth, Kalisto, TJP, and Buddy Murphy for the #1 contendership. Well, not for the #1 contendership. It's like a soft #1 contendership, just to see who's like the most serious. It's like a loser's bracket match. How about that? Okay. I said all of that so that I could say this. I am really, between Mustafa Ali and Drew Gulak, these two competitors, it seems as if WWE is so high on both of these guys that either of them could have won. And it confirmed that 205 Live is breaking the mold and becoming its own thing. And I'll tell you why. But you want to know why? Here's why. That was a dumb reference and he'll never be on the show. Anyway, when it comes to the WWE style, as everybody here is familiar with, they like to hit a good guy versus bad guy, a good guy versus bad guy dynamic. So with that, with Cedric taking the win in his match, my mindset, being a WWE fan and knowing how high on Drew Gulak they are, and you can listen to Drew talk all about it in his interview on Xbox 12360. Ding. Now on Westwood One, Jericho Network. Thank you. So me being conditioned as a WWE fan, I felt like Cedric versus Drew, we're gonna get a nice good guy bad guy dynamic. Ced has been just nailing it ever since the Cruiserweight Classic. But Mustafa Ali is so popular that no matter what happens with him, he'll turn out okay. And if anything, Drew wins the Cruiserweight Championship. Mustafa Ali is the first person to challenge, and we get a repeat of this amazing match. Oh, hey, somebody, Simon would be an interesting guest because at about this time, 4 in the morning? Anyway, Simon versus Hobo. I would see that too. But, yeah, thinking like a WWE fan, you're like, oh, Drew's going to win. It'll be close, but Drew's going to win. So the fact that, one, they put in a hell of a performance. And not to say that Cedric and Roddy didn't put in a hell of a performance either. But these two, this was a match like it was in the Cruiserweight Classic. It was an athletic competition. There were a couple of WWE flares that the change from the tournament into a WWE product added and plus, and that's the usage of the commentary table, the ring post, just because Full Sail is so small, there's not enough room for all of that stuff, and it would be kind of unnatural. But all of this was a natural progression. Mustafa hitting that huge dive, rolling dive, onto the top of Drew Gulak, onto his shoulder, and rolling off like it ain't no thing. Though he did go to the well one too many times, and man, Ali gets hurt a lot. Or at least it looks like he does. But this match, the fact that Ali reversed the Dragon Sleeper into a DDT, hit the 054 in the corner, and all of the post-match stuff and all of the stuff just leading up to this match and sort of getting reintroduced to all of these characters like we had in the Cruiserweight Classic and now, and hearing about the person that Mustafa Ali is. And he said it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, the color of your skin, all that matters is in your heart. And I'm not just saying this because I'm hosting a show or I'm trying to play up story or whatever, but that really got to me in a positive way, to the point where I wasn't tearing up. I didn't wipe away and like snuffle up and all of that stuff, but it made a connection. It was such a real connection. And similarly to how Cedric connected with the crowd after his win, and talking about his daughter calling him a champion, and these two meeting in the ring at WrestleMania is one of the most is one of the matches that I'm looking forward to the most. It's going to be one of those matches where I'm going to be able to look back and tell people I was there for Cedric and Ali at WrestleMania, and they're gonna go, I am so jealous. It's yeah, yeah. Dundorian brings up an interesting point. We are we do have a not a bias, but we hope for better. Dundorian says, so Ali connects with you and not Roddy Strong. Interesting. I think one of my main issues with Roderick is he's so Californian. I know he's not from California, but his laid back attitude and speaking voice didn't lend itself well to the storyline that they were doing back with him and Bobby Roode for the NXT Championship. It didn't seem like a natural thing for Roddy. Like, they really had to be like, no, we want it. It seemed like there was more direction, and they didn't let Roddy do what he could to get the fans interested. And I think that's the main difference for me. Is for Roddy, it seems forced. The character part, the acting part, not necessarily the performance, because as we mentioned many times on the show, when he leaves it all in the ring, it's hard not to feel a connection. Like, that connection is there. We have it. We understand it. And it makes the times when he does talk, I would actually equate it to similarly to Roman Reigns. When Roman Reigns back in the days of the Shield and early on in his solo stuff was fighting, and once he started talking, the back was feeding him stuff and not letting him be himself. I would say similar, like the Usos as well. The Usos switching up to the Uso Penitentiary style, and the call back, the back and forth style, that reflects them. That's more of them, so much to where they can give them a topic and they can make it work. When it comes to Roddy, I think they were trying to capture something that wasn't capturable. I know Roddy will get there, and I know his performance will get there, and the tag match tonight spoke for itself for various reasons. But when it comes to Ali and Cedric, both of their stories are so inspirational and so counter WWE, to be perfectly honest. When it comes to Mustafa Ali, formerly Prince Mustafa Ali, we went into this a little bit on Xbox 12360 today. We had Nick Hausman from WrestleZone Radio on, and he used to manage Mustafa. And he told a story about how when they first met, Nick was a manager for other Middle Eastern wrestlers with chic gimmicks. So, long story short, Nick goes up saying, "Oh, hey, so you say something in a foreign language and I translate, and it's like Down with America." And Mustafa said, "No, none of that. We'll be bad guys, and you'll cut corners for me, but I don't want that expectation. I don't want that trope. I don't want that type of a character. I'm trying to change all that." And he is, this type of a character. You look at Daivari, and Davari's already gone through 2 character changes since, or started as one type of a character in CWC and then has changed now in 205 Live. And this is this is different. This is new. And it's something that's breaking the mold of what WWE is known for. And the fact that Cedric has all of this steam and has had all of this steam ever since the CWC and is now being able to show it. And Ali coming in as an alternate for the CWC and making his way to WrestleMania 34, point at that sign, and we're getting this Cruiserweight Championship match. I cannot wait. Mustafa Ali sounds like a good guy who deserves all of the stuff that he has worked so hard to get to. All right, that was 205 Live and half the show. So let's talk about NXT. It starts out with Ciampa doing the stuff that we've been seeing him do for the past couple of weeks, but in a moment that sort of mimics Sting in TNA, Ciampa is tearing up Gargano signs, even wipes his butt with one of them. Takes the sign of one fan, rips it in her face. Takes the sign of another person. First giveaway, he's wearing a WWE jumper. Secondly, like a blank Mil Mascaras mask, just a standard luchador mask, but rips it off. It's Johnny Gargano. They start fighting. Security drags him out of the building, and that's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. It looks like maybe it's going the way that we don't want, or not that we don't want, in a way that we were hoping they would sort of subvert the idea of. It looks like it'll probably just be a street fight, unsanctioned match, something like that. Where on Takeover, maybe it'll start the show, maybe it'll be in the middle of the show. I actually don't know where it would be. It probably maybe start the show, maybe. But yeah, then we've got oh boy, Undisputed Era. Kyle O'Reilly doing stuff with his face. Nope. Anyway, the Undisputed Era, they talked down Roddy wanting to join the Dusty Rhodes Classic without a partner. Doesn't matter who his partner is. It could be William Regal for all they care. And we find out that Adam Cole is taking on Cassius Ohno. Maybe they told us last week. Either way, talks him down. But Adam wants to prove like he doesn't need the guys to win. Asks them to stay in the back. Cool. Now let's get to some matches. Oh boy, Oni and Tui, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Roddy and, surprise, surprise, Pete Dunne, competing in a round one matchup for the Dusty Classic. Now, one of my favorite things about this match is it seemed like Burch was the counter for Pete Dunne and Oni was the counter for Roddy, because anytime Burch and Dunne were in the ring together, there's a great back and forth to where Dunne would try all of his tricks and his tricksy hobbitses. He would get some offense in, but Burch knows him so well. And I hate borrowing that term because I don't like when commentators say it, but I'll say it. Mr. Wiggles. Kyle. No Velveteen Dream tonight. Totally agree, Bradley Tucker. But with Oni, same thing for Roddy. He would keep Roddy at bay to the point where it seemed like some of the tags they were making were sort of inconsequential, and if somebody needed a break, they could have slowed down the match. But I think Roddy was smart in keeping it slow at the start. But Oni just, oh my God. I want to see a singles match, Oni and Roddy, and Burch and Dunne. Maybe Burch for the championship. Burch and Dunne for the championship, because those two, given the time and in the British style, I think could have another match of the year candidate, and Danny Burch has always been one of the best. But I was talking earlier about a cruiserweight tag team that I want to see. Oni and Burch. I think they present, similarly to the two teams right now in 205 Live, they present a completely different roughneck, balls out, balls to the wall, balls out to the wall, I guess, sort of a style that not a lot of people are seeing these days. So I really want Oni and Burch to come in and annihilate. The Potty Boys versus the oh, is that what we landed on? The Potty Boys. Their move can be called the potty break. Goodness gracious. They're a strong style team. When you say they're a strong style team, are you referring to Birch and Lorcan? A couple of roughnecks. Yes, Marie. Totally agree. I always wince when Oni is wrestling. He attacks like a crazy person, and I love it. Totally agree. The times where he kept going back to the well, getting a little bit off the ropes for a little bit of extra power, and hitting Roddy down, going for a pin. That didn't work. Let me try something else. Oni's like a crazed weasel, and you can't quite get a hold of him, and he might bite your ear off. Maybe, if you're careful. I mean, he broke Itami's nose that one time. Long story short, I love... We've talked about it before on the show. Oni and Birch are a great tag team, and the fact that it was them versus Roddy and Dunn, it showed... I think it showed more for them than Roddy and Dunn, to be honest. Because there were a couple of sweet tag team moves between Dunn and Roddy, but Roddy ultimately hit the end of Heartache to get them through. There was a cool second rope stomp onto Birch that was followed by the X-Plex. Birch Germaned Dunn, and then Oni hit the half and half on Roddy, onto Dunn. Some really sweet moments that it really highlighted them more. But yeah. Dang MQ agrees. I think Oni and Danny are 205. I'm pretty sure they are. I'd be really surprised if they weren't. I think Oni and Danny can be a fantastic tag team. We've already seen that they have been. They just need the right application. And right now, NXT is not littered, but NXT has a large tag division, but there's even more people that we haven't seen. And the idea that we have a tag team like Roderick and Dunn, Roderick and Pete, that's coming through, and even the established tag teams, have to take notice, is pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So Roddy and Dunn advance. Next week we're gonna get them versus Sanity. Ricochet's coming soon. Oh my god, we didn't know that. And then we have Aliyah versus Ember Moon. Now this, I don't like to use the term enhancement match, but Aliyah did not look great against Ember Moon in this match. Ember's performance was a display of her power, her speed, and her creativity. It wasn't the easiest win. It wasn't like she stomped Aliyah into the ground, but it was pretty decisive. It's pretty decisive getting this victory over Aliyah with the Eclipse. We eventually did get Shayna Baszler out on commentary, and she was talking her down the whole time. One of my favorite, she seemed really calm, but the second Ember went up to get the Eclipse was when she started getting heated. She started getting angry. She started getting loud. And one of the things that she said upon Ember winning was, everyone in this division is helpless and they know it. And she seemed really indignant about Ember getting the win. And I really like that, because it showed a lot more depth than just her being a bully physically, but showing that Ember's success actually does get to her, at least a little bit. So this character moment, I would say one of the most successful commentary, what's the word? Commentary run-ins, I suppose you would say, in a while. And then Ember and Shayna stare each other down from inside of the ring and the commentary desk. Let's see. Breaking Ground definitely needs to return from Sharkosaur. They filmed another season a year or two ago. I agree. Zeno Hour asks, do you think Ember Moon might get called up after WrestleMania? I think so. I think her character is something that... actually, I don't know. It's difficult now that we have two totally... I'm going to this camera instead of this camera, excuse me. That we have two incredibly dominant women on each show. Because if you build... or rather, if Asuka wins the SmackDown Women's Championship, she will go over to SmackDown. And we have Ronda Rousey on Raw. So with that, I don't know what good she could do character-wise unless they put her on SmackDown against Asuka, but then Asuka continues her reign of her reign of terror. But that's the issue with dealing with somebody who is number one contender, or not number one contender, but like strongest and undefeated. I don't know, man. Like that's the issue now, is if Asuka wins at WrestleMania and they book Ronda this way, unless they book Ronda like just dominant and not going after the title, and keep her in storylines that aren't necessarily locked to the women's division, I think maybe Ember could fit there. Or if they made a new show that was like 205 Live, where everybody has their... Well, no, that wouldn't work either. Either way, regardless, I don't know. Like, move up, yes, but where? I'm not sure. Moving on from here, Raul Mendoza comes out for action and gets the crap beaten out of him by Andrade Cien Almas, our NXT champion. He calls out Alistair. He says a lot, and to be perfectly honest, I had a really tough time understanding him, but he did say face me a lot, so it looks like next week we'll have some sort of a confrontation between the two. Considering it is the last week before, and God, it's 2 weeks. Oh my God. Oh no, there's two more weeks. Anyway, regardless, this main event, Adam Cole versus Cassius Ohno, was a lot different than I expected it to be. Yeah. I know Cien said a naughty word because they censored it. But for Adam Cole and Cassius Ohno, before the show, good friend with Style Petite, Matt, how you doing? He said that, actually, let me see if the chat saved it, and I'll just go back up to see it. Adam Cole is the personification of average. And it's taken me a while because I've talked about it before, not going off of his accomplishments before he got here, just looking at the type of competitor he is, and legitimately his size, how tall he is, and everything like that. It's taken me a while to really warm up to him as a competitor because he didn't really impress me, you know. But there have been several times over the past couple of months, that he really has, and this match did do that. He is a guy, excuse me, he is a guy who is not afraid to go out of his way to make somebody else, or how should I put this? He's willing to put his body on the line, and if it costs him, it costs him. Like near the top of the match when they were exchanging leapfrogs, and Cole jumps up for a leapfrog, and Cassius just boots him right in the face, or right in the chest, and like pushes him completely out. But immediately he switched strategies. He went, all right, I need to get an advantage again because he's got the power. So that took him to the outside. He feigned a knee injury, and he ended up getting a lot of strikes over on Ohno. But there was just heavy strikes from both sides. I shouldn't have said it like that. Whoops. But yeah, this match to me showed Adam Cole, his strength, his mental fortitude, and his execution make him a dangerous performer in any league. NXT, the Royal Rumble, 205 Live, or any of that. And I really enjoyed this match from the two of them. And the fact that it took Adam, it took him 2 super kicks, a brain buster, and the last shot, which is just it looked like a shining wizard to the back of the head, to get the victory here, shows that in a pinch, it's his speed and his size that are his, and his mind that are his advantage when it comes to this league. But I do wonder, and Marie Annette says it as well, who knows where they're going with Cassius right now. He's stuck just like No Way Jose and Lars. We are going to be getting Lars back next week, which is cool. I wonder where they're going to go with him. Adam Cole needs an enforcer. I'm not available. That's right. I'm still looking at a couple of contracts, depending on who I join. I think they should add Dijak to the Undisputed Era. Maybe. I don't know what they have planned for him, but it could be a thing. Yeah, I wonder what's in store for Lars. I wonder what's in store for No Way Jose. I wonder what's in store for Cassius Ohno. Velveteen Dream. Exactly. Joseph Boza says Adam is screwed without Bobby Fish. I wonder if Adam, in case Bobby Fish is injured, if Adam can Freebirds rule it and be like fight for Bobby Fish, and if he wins, then they can add his championship run. Anyway, yeah. So this is always rough. This is always I did it again. This is always difficult. This is always rough. Doing these shows by myself, but I need the extra time because after this show, we're going to be doing a special performance. If you are a fan of the Rooster Teeth franchise, Ruby, please make sure to go to AfterBuzz Animation because we're going to be doing something a little bit special tonight, a little different, and we need a little extra time to prepare. So I want to thank everybody in chat: Brian Settles, Pepsi Fan 24, Zeno Hour, Joseph Boza, Sharkasaur, Maria Net, Dang MQ, Don Dorian. There's another name that I saw in here. Joshua Kiger, Bradley Tucker. Just so you know, not just because today is not just because I'm kind of reliant on the chat for today. We do look at the chat every week. I have my computer here. We make sure that we acknowledge questions and try to get everybody's thoughts and make this a communal discussion, not just with people at the desk. So thank you very much for watching this episode of the NXT After Show / 205 Live Power Hour. I've been your host, the internet's Mark B. Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. You can also find me on Collider doing the movie trivia schmodown, the Inner Geekdom division, where I'm a competitor. I've got a big match coming up, a #1 contendership match versus Jared from The Bachelor. I forgot his last name. Anyway, that's coming up, and I just started a new podcast with some friends of mine, the Nerd Soul podcast, which you can find if you just follow the Nerd Soul Twitter account. It's my friends Michael and Alexis. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks to Bill and Hobo, who will be back next week, where we're going to talk a little bit more about your favorite wrestling brand. That's been me. This has been AfterBuzz TV. See you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments and questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.